Hi, it's Tony Verovan, and we're talking air filtration with Don Stanley with 3RhinoMedia. Don Stanley is the co-founder of his company, and he's going to be speaking at NAFA's annual conference, which is taking place in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So we're going west this year. I've never been here. I'm excited to go there. It's October 11th through the 13th. Don, your presentation is from 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time, I believe, right? On Wednesday, October 12th. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I am very excited, and I'm in the same boat as you, as I've never been to Coeur d'Alene. I've never been to Idaho, so I'm really, really looking forward to it, and especially meeting with the members of NAFA.
Fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about your presentation, because what we're trying to do right now is make sure people understand how important social media and digital marketing is. You know, you hear social media marketing and you think, oh, wow, that's just something that we hand off to the new intern, right? Or something like that. So
yeah.
The title of your talk is How to Stand Above Your Competition and Become the Voice of Trust in a Noisy, Busy World. So, many companies turn their marketing over to a recent college grad, right? Because, hey, kids know this stuff these days. I don't know anything. I've been running my company for 30 years.
Yes.
What does a bright-eyed 23-year-old need to know to make a 20-plus-year-old company successful in today's age?
Well, it's a fantastic question, because a lot of the companies that I've consulted in my 25 years of doing this type of work is that just because young people grow up with these technologies doesn't mean that they understand the business value of these technologies. And so a lot of times what will happen with companies that I work with is they'll be like, oh, we're just going to hire an intern out of school. And I'm like, well, that's great, but here's the challenge that you face. A business intern is going to be somebody who, or a student out of college who's going to work for your business as an intern, probably 20, 21, 22, maybe up to 25 years old. And so we call those folks digital natives, right? Because they grew up with this stuff and we didn't. And so they know how to use TikTok and they know how to use Instagram and they're on the web a lot, etc. But the challenge is, they don't know how to look at the world through the lens of a business and sales person. And so the example that I'll often give is that I know how to drive a car. I've been driving a car for quite a few years. But if something went wrong with my transmission on my car, you would not want me fixing it, because I don't know anything about the functionings of how a transmission works. Similarly, you get a lot of these kids who know how to use TikTok or know how to use various tools. That doesn't mean they know how to use them from a business standpoint. And I teach a digital marketing class at the University of Wisconsin. We have I have several hundred students every year from all different walks of life, literally almost every major on campus. And it's shocking how little they know about what to do from a business standpoint. So what we have to be thinking about, as we're thinking about these things, is how does digital marketing relate to our lead acquisition and ultimately our sales? That's what it comes down to. We're not on social. We're not having a website. We're not doing an email newsletter to do it because some guy came into a conference and said, hey, do it. My bias is, how does this help us increase trust with potential or current customers, and how does that help enable lead generation, increase the quality of our leads, and then ultimately help us smooth down and to streamline that sales cycle? And young kids aren't thinking about that. That's just not the world they operate in. So I think that's something important to note, is that when we're talking at the conference coming up, we're going to be talking about digital marketing. And digital includes your website, your social media, and your email marketing. And we know from beyond a shadow of a doubt, all of the data says that the vast majority of people in the business to business, as well as in the business to consumer perspective, spend the majority of their time self-educating before they reach out to a company. Meaning they're going to go online and learn as much as they can about products, services, companies, and solutions without ever talking to a salesperson. And the reason they want to do that is because they don't trust salespeople, because salespeople are going to do what? They're going to sell. They're not going to help. And so people want to go on and get unbiased information. And we'll talk a lot about this and how do you actually do that. I'll share some incredible case studies as well that demonstrates in really unique fields, how do you do this? But the idea is those digital resources are there to help us to engender that trust, become known, and help us with our sales. And circling back to those early 20-something, they're not thinking that way, right? And also a lot of business owners that when I'm speaking at these events don't think that way. They think the website and social media are just extra junk that they don't want to deal with. When in reality, all of this research from Forrester Research, from Google and other places highlights the majority of a sales decision is made by people going online and self-educating. And guess what? If we don't have a presence online, we don't have good content online. Guess what's happening is our competitors are the ones who are building the relationships and trust, and they're much more likely to get the quality leads and quality sales.
Right. So the point of this, I get that, just to kind of reset a little bit, is the point of this is that we're not looking down our nose at a recent college grad. That's not the point of this, right? The point of this is really, the criticism is for a business owner who says, hey, let's just like hand this off to the marketing and let's just make sure my salespeople have leads, right? The criticism is for the business owner, the people that might be coming to this event, are like, you should not just be hands off on this, right? Totally. You really need to be involved, and you need to really believe in the, as a person who comes from the marketing world and myself, is I totally understand the, attracting the attention of the right customers, and that whole funnel that happens before they pick up the phone or fill out that form, right?
Correct.
So you really have to have an expectation that, your salespeople are, by design of the internet and content marketing, are already behind the 8 ball, right? By the time they get contacted, they really are potentially at a disadvantage. So you have to make sure that your marketing and your sales really are closer than ever. These aren't separate departments anymore, right? They really have to work together, right?
Totally. And that's exactly, is that they are intended to complement each other. And if they don't, that's a major issue. And when I look at companies and organizations that I consult, that my friends consult in their organizations, and we're talking, a lot of these companies are $10 million a year to $200 million a year in sales minimum. Some smaller and larger fit into that as well. But that's an issue they run into, is they have a sales silo and a marketing silo. And the way a customer sees it and the way digital makes things today is that's a 2012 thing, not a 2022 and beyond thing. We need to be thinking of those. How do we get those to work together? And that's part of what we'll be talking about, is what are some of the proven strategies and tactics for doing that, and getting the sales and marketing aligned such that better leads, better quality interactions, and ultimately better sales.
So Don, I went to the technical seminar here this past year, and one of the sessions was all about commodities, right? And high demand, shortage, supply and demand, prices are skyrocketing. Seems like maybe at least as of today, gas is coming down. So hopefully petroleum and oil is coming down, right? Which is obviously raw material for a lot of things out there.
Correct.
But prices are still in high demand these days, and or prices, products are in high demand. Prices are still sky high. So air filtration companies and everybody who makes components for air filtration equipment and manufacturers, kind of all up and down the supply chain, are feeling this. So there seems to be no shortage of business. So why is a business owner going to say, well, gee, I need to market and get more business? Or is that why I'm doing this? Why market at all in this climate?
And that's a super fair question, because when things are good, do you want to drive in more business? Sometimes people will say, no, I'm at capacity. The idea of what you want to be cognizant of is that that's never, ever fully lasted, right? There are cycles to business, and we all can remember, whether it's the recession of 2008 or whatever, that these cycles will come into play. The other thing is to start looking at the quality of leads that you get and being able to start potentially charging more premium prices on top of that as well. And that's where digital can come into play. I think all of us have been in situations where we've either taken on clients that weren't good fits because we needed to meet bottom lines, and then there was just not a good relationship. The client was either a major headache, or things at the very end of this came out to where we didn't get very positive business reviews, and our reputations might have been hurt, etc. So the idea is we're kind of future proofing. We're working to future proof in one sense, building that trust, that knowledge with our audiences. But secondarily, what it does is it allows us to start looking at being more selective with the project that we're able to take and charge more premium prices oftentimes by doing this. So it allows us to be more selective. And I've totally been in this situation where I took on clients where, it's like, I don't really think this person's the best fit, but darn, I need the money. And it ended up costing me a lot more in the end of pain and suffering than any revenue I generated. But the idea is that that's part of it as well, is us being strategic, knowing that this we don't know how long this is going to last, and how can we be prepared and ahead of competition who's going to be complacent and be like, things are good, I don't have to worry about this. And I think those are two reasons. There's other reasons as well, but those are two big reasons in terms of being selective with the clients we're able to work with, who become the success stories, and then they become our marketing team bragging us up, or they become testimonials for us, as well as us being able to be even more premium with our prices, if that's the route that we want to go. So I think those are two of the reasons that it's important to continue to do. And the other thing that I'll throw in is that, when things get tough, that's when people will say, okay, now I need to start marketing. And they seem like a desperate used car salesperson, right? They're not there to, because like, oh crap, we need to meet our sales quotas. And so the way you're messaging and talking to customers, clients, prospects comes from a place of desperation, not from help. And people pick up on that. And I think that's a place where we have to be, especially when we're going to talk a lot about how do you build that trust and why is that trust so important. The more consistent we can be, the better we're going to be in the long run as well.
Fantastic. Well, Don, that is a great preview and overview of your presentation. I look forward to meeting you in person at the annual conference of the National Air Filtration Association in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, October 11th through the 13th. Come see Don, and come see a slate of great speakers here at our annual conference. Thanks so much, Don. I appreciate you spending a little time with us.
Thank you. And I look forward to meeting you all in person in October.
All right. Take care.
Take care.